Chapter 9. Fire Dragon. Countless pairs of eyes in the darkness were now fixed on the figures surrounded by 3 halos of light. Zhang Xiaofan couldn't help but feel a bit nervous. Even though he looked towards Bai Yao and Stone, he noticed their expressions weren't too reassuring either. It seemed they had never experienced such a situation before. Despite this, the myriad creatures around them didn't make any move to attack them. Apart from a few roars from tigers and leopards known for their fierce temperament, there was basically no movement, just silent observation. They continued descending slowly. After dropping another 4 or 5 Zhang Xiaofan suddenly noticed that the glowing eyes around them were gradually decreasing in number. However, it seemed that each glowing eye was much larger than before. Furrowing his brow, he silently moved closer to the stone wall. Sure enough, illuminated by the light from the burning stick, he found that the number of holes in the pitch-black stone wall had decreased significantly, but each hole was now much larger than before, almost reaching a person's height. Moreover, the creatures inside these holes appeared to be fiercer and more vicious, with most of them being large in size, with sharp teeth and ferocious appearances, sending chills down one's spine. Among them, one particularly fierce creature, resembling a wild boar with a giant bear's head, roared and swung its huge claws, narrowly missing Zhang Xiaofan. Startled, Zhang Xiaofan quickly controlled his magical artifact and retreated several feet. Hearing the sound, Bai Yao and Stone both looked in his direction. Zhang Xiaofan whispered, "It seems like there are quite fierce monsters here. Let's be careful." Bai Yao and Stone nodded, focusing their attention on vigilance. However, apart from being attacked by those monsters near the stone wall, the 3 of them were not disturbed further. It seemed that although these monsters were fierce, they lacked the ability to fly, so they could only stay in the caves. Zhang Xiaofan cautiously controlled his flight while thinking to himself, "I wonder how these non-flying monsters prey in this cliff." In this manner, the 3 of them descended further. At this point, they had descended nearly 100 zhang deep underground from the black stone cave cliff. Looking down, the immense abyss beneath them, illuminated only by the glowing eyes of the strange creatures, remained unfathomably deep. What was even more different from their previous understanding was that there was no sense of coldness in this abyss. On the contrary, the temperature here was much higher than on the surface of the black stone cave, to the point where Zhang Xiaofan even felt like he was sweating. Yet, the surroundings remained pitch black, devoid of any signs of warmth, which was extremely eerie. As Stone controlled his shattered demon-slaying staff to descend slowly, he suddenly cursed, "Damn fox, actually choosing such a bizarre place as its lair." Zhang Xiaofan didn't pay much attention, but he heard Bai Yao not far away stifling a laugh. Her laughter was crisp and pleasant, although she lowered her voice. In this quiet space, it traveled quite far. Zhang Xiaofan looked at her and saw her smiling gently within the serene, white light of the sadness flower, her features exuding warmth. It seemed that she also sensed something as she turned to look at Zhang Xiaofan, and their eyes met. Zhang Xiaofan's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly turned his head away. Further down, however, the situation seemed to have changed slightly. The holes in the stone walls continued to enlarge, and the creatures inside were slightly larger than those in the upper caves, almost reaching the size of ordinary people. But here, the 3 of them unexpectedly found that nearly half of the caves were empty, and in the air, which had always been relatively fresh, there was now a faint smell of blood. The 3 exchanged glances, their eyes filled with vigilance, but even so, they did not slow down their descent. In the boundless darkness under their feet, something seemed to shimmer like stars or flames, quietly lighting up for a moment above the abyss. ZhuXian and his granddaughter, Zihuan, finally arrived at the edge of the cliff where Zhang Xiaofan and the others had leapt. Looking at the impassable cliff ahead and the bottomless abyss below, ZhuXian was at a loss for words. Zihuan, despite her young age, had already traveled the world with her grandfather. However, in this dark and silent black stone cave, she couldn't help feeling a bit scared. She glanced down the edge of the cliff, immediately retracted her head and whispered to ZhuXian, "Grandpa, do you have a way to go down?" ZhuXian's eyes darted around, and he sighed, "We don't know any spells, and we didn't bring any ropes. This is bad." Huan breathed a sigh of relief, patting her chest with her hand. Fortunately, ZhuXian glared at her and said, "What's fortunate about it? If there are mountains of gold and silver or precious treasures down there, we've missed out." Huan hummed and took a bite of the candied fruit in her right hand. "Mountains of gold and silver? I think it might be mountains of corpses and bones waiting for you. All right, since we can't go down, let's hurry and leave. What if we run into one or two little demons? You, the famous 13th generation descendant of Qingyun Sect, would lose face in front of your ancestors." ZhuXian was furious. "Nonsense. How dare you speak like this? ZhuXian, how could I disgrace our ancestors? Before he could finish his words, suddenly, from the darkness ahead, there came the sound of swish swish, followed by two flashes of light, swift as lightning, appearing before them an instant. ZhuXian shouted in alarm, pulling Huan and reaching for the yellow paper talisman in his pocket, about to cast a spell to escape. However, the light flickered twice more, revealing two figures. These two moved even faster than before, and before ZhuXian could unleash his spell, he felt a cold sensation around his neck. All the hair on his body stood on end, and he felt a chill in his heart. After calming down slightly, ZhuXian realized that the other party hadn't attacked him lethally, but the object at his neck remained in place. Summoning his courage, he looked at the two people who had appeared. The man had a jade-like face, extremely handsome, while the woman was as beautiful as a flower. Though they were still a few feet away from ZhuXian and Huan, the man had a magical treasure resembling a jade ruler, pure and warm, pressed against ZhuXian's neck, while the beautiful woman controlled a green fairy sword, holding Huan in check. Poor Huan, pale with fright, still tightly held onto her candied fruit, crying out loudly, "Big brother demon, big sister demon, please don't eat me. I'm small and not tasty. If you want to eat someone, eat my grandpa instead." ZhuXian nearly collapsed, angrily scolding, "You ungrateful girl. I've raised you for nothing. I never realized. But when it comes to life and death, you're ready to betray your grandfather?" Huan, with a trembling voice, said, "Grandpa, don't blame me. After you die, I'll at least bring you a string of candied fruits every now and then. Double quotes. ZhuXian was exasperated. "Nonsense. I detest those sweet things the most in my life. If you want to bring something, bring me some roasted chicken or steamed fish." Huan nodded. "Grandpa, I'll remember. You can rest assured." ZhuXian breathed a sigh of relief. "That's more like it. Now I can die in peace. Wait a minute." He suddenly woke up, his eyebrows furrowed. "You ungrateful girl. Why should I rest assured? Where do you think you're going? Heartless child."